Welcome back to Kung Fu Maintenance. Well, I just thought this was funny, so I thought I'd show you how to cover up a mole using Premiere Pro. What I've got is, this is my video clip right here, and what I want to do is locate the start and finish of where it shows up. Got this video on how to install spring style door stops, and the mole is just kind of ugly. So I'm using the forward and back arrows to scroll through. So left and right arrows, and what I do is use Control and K to chop that spot right there. So that's going to separate the clip as long as I've got this highlighted. And then now we're going to want to go to the next area. Again, you can use those arrows to find the last spot, fine tune it a little bit. So I'm going back. Now we're using the arrow. And I know this is kind of silly, but I figured sometimes I use this to cover other things that I don't want in the video. So now I'm going to highlight this clip, this piece of the clip. That's where my video is, and make that a little bigger so you can see it there. And then we're going to go Control and K. Okay, see that cut? So now we've got our clip highlighted here, and what we're going to want to do is go to the Effects tab. So you got an Editing tab, Effects tab here. I've got that clip highlighted, and we're going to want to search GAU, and we're looking for Gaussian blur. You can also search your effects here, and there's the Gaussian blur. So I'm going to select that and drag it on top of our clip. Then here in the Effects Control panel, I'm going to scroll down to the Gaussian blur. I'm going to hit the circle button, and that's going to create a mask, and that mask where is it? It should have created it on the screen here. We're going to adjust the blurriness. There it is. There's the mask. And the mask didn't show up, so what we're going to do is go up and click on the mask button. And what I got to do is exit out of full screen here. That's why. So you use Control and tilde button to enter into full screen or exit out of full screen. So now you can see that we've got our circle here. You can drag that, and I'm using this to cover a mole, which is silly, but it lets me show you how to use the cover function.
You can also use the escape button to exit full screen.
And there's just a lot of editing ability with the software. You can change again the size of the deal here, and then you can actually adjust a lot of functions in here. You can do the mask feather, so that's going to create a section of it that's a little more blended out, and it's going to hide it a little bit better. So that's pretty much perfect there. I don't need this to be perfect, it's not critical. But now what we can do is the mask path function. We can play it forward or play it backwards. What it's going to do is it's going to create keyframes. So I'll go ahead and hit that for the backwards deal and be ready to stop it. We'll move this here, and what it's doing is it's creating all these keyframes up in the top right you see here. So I'll hit stop just so you can see here. There's our keyframes. If it lost track with it, we'll want to stop it, and what we can do is drag on the timeline here and go forward. This was pretty much following it, but you see now it's lost it there. Now the tracking will track that, but there's might be certain parts in your video where a hand went in front of it or something, and you need to fix it. So while it's tracking it, you kind of got to watch it, and you may have to stop it and move it around. And then you can move your keyframes. As I move this, it's going to create that in the timeline. You see, so now we can kind of scroll back and make sure everything's good. And it's a little bit, it looks pretty good there. Covered the mole. Okay. And again, you can use tracking to do this, so I'll go ahead and show you from this point. What we're going to do is use the backward tracking, because we want to go this way. So it's this one right here. This will bring it all the way, this will just bring it one frame backward. So if you had something really sensitive that you wanted to make really sure for sure every last keyframe was done, you could manually do it keyframe by keyframe. But you can hit this track function, and as long as you've highlighted something or surrounded something that is very trackable. That mole on my leg is very trackable, I guess. Then it will follow along with it to cover it. It's just a silly example. Do I really need to cover that? Probably not. Like, who cares? But but I just thought it was kind of funny, so I thought I'd show you. Now this can take a little bit of time. It's going to go from, this one's going backwards across the track here. And I can speed up the film, or for this it's not critical for me again, so I can stop it. And what I can do is drag on the timeline and then just watch for any kind of change. Like this would have changed, and this may even lose the tracking because the part of the shorts covered the mole. And so there it is. So I gotta drag this again. It's creating that keyframe. And what we can do is go back towards the middle. See, we lost it. Now, tracking automatically would get that, but we can also, again, create our individual key tracks in between, and especially in an instance where we just didn't want to wait for it. So this one I might track forward now, and it's going to be in between these two spots, and you can see it's tracking and moving with it. It's a nice piece of software. So I'll go ahead and stop it now here, since all this part we've got good. Now I've just got to get the rest of this. Oh, there it is. It peeked out. So I'm going to go about right here, move it just a little, so it created the keyframe. Go back here and we'll move that. Yeah, and now you can see why I'm covering that thing up. It's a little ugly. Nobody cares, but you know, got the software, might as well use it, right? Uh-oh, look at that. There's a little... right there. Okay. Anyway, now we can hit the space bar and play it through and see how it covered. There was, see, one little spot in between there where I saw it poke through. So what I'll do is go back. See, there it is right there. Again, I can just drag it and redo it, and now it should be good. So I can go ahead and play it through. And this particular video is on replacing a doorstop. Again, you don't really have to cover this stuff. I stopped it right there because it needs to be repositioned a little right there. Hit play again. You know, stuff that doesn't matter, but just showing you stuff you could do. Oh, in between there, it showed up. And that's because I didn't use the motion tracking for it, but I just did it manually. Okay, now going back to this, everything looks okay there. From the end here to right at the end it showed up again. So let me drag that up. And again, you can rechange the size of it also for different things, like if your subject was in a different spot in the frame and you needed to make it bigger. Just gives you a lot of, you know, some nice software. Is it perfect? No, but it's what you could do. So now I'm playing it through, making sure it's all nice and covered. It works good for covering other things that you didn't want in your video. You know, somebody's license plate or something like that, or your own license plate or whatever, or, you know, just anything else, somebody's face that you didn't want in your video. You can use that Gaussian blur. And you can adjust the blurriness of the video and the opacity of the mask, the blurriness of the mask. This I usually bring to right about 100, so it just doesn't show as a big blurry mark, or 95 is good. You know, you can lessen that and make it a softer blur, so it just doesn't seem unnatural. But as you can see, it's how you can remove a mole. It worked. Silly stuff, but it works. And anyway, the video that I'm editing here is on how to install a spring-style doorstop. So, anyway, that's how you can use the Gaussian blur. Look it. It's right there. So it looks like I missed a spot, so that'd be good. Finish that off, and that's good to go. Anyway, thanks for watching Kung Fu Maintenance. Hope that helps somebody on using the Gaussian blur. and how you can cover up an ugly mole with software. This one was Premiere Pro software. Okay, so this video is called Wall Protection Behind Doors, plus how to install spring-style doorstop. If you want to check the video out, I'll try to put a link in the description below. When you want to review this full screen, what you do is hit the Control and the tilde button with your mouse hovering over your screen. That you'll make it full screen, and then you get the space bar to play it. And then you'll be able to review, you know, how did your editing work out. For me, that mostly worked out. But I can make this a little bigger. And sometimes you can see stuff better in the full screen than you could. And it does a pretty good job. And again, you can adjust the feather or the softness or the opacity of the mask. Just a lot of different stuff you can do in there. It's pretty nice software. Alright, but anyway, link in the description if you wanted to watch that video.